Today I'd like to discuss with you the reasons why you should not write a book for your law practice. And I'm going to begin with the most simple reason. Most lawyers are convinced that the best marketing thing you can do is to have a book. So they'll put together something that's really kind of flimsy, very small. This happens to be one of my favorite books. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Phenomenal book. But this is the type of book that many lawyers will have. It's kind of small, not much meat to it, and really not worth much. So it's something that's kind of thrown together on the fly, has very little value, and is not going to do much, really do anything to improve your law practice. I made a book like this about 7 or 8 years ago. It hasn't done anything for me. So I don't recommend small little books. They're more, I would call, a guide. So let's get rid of that. Number 2 is an option where you do a compendium, where you're writing a chapter in a book with other authors. And this is a book Larry Bodine actually co-authored. He wrote a chapter. A bunch of other authors wrote in the book. It's kind of easy to put together something like that. There's organizations that will help you put together something like this. Brian Tracy has an organization where you can write a chapter in his book, and then you can say, well, look, I wrote in this book. Probably better than nothing, but still not recommended. This is kind of the easy way to get it done, but it's really not yours. It's just a little chapter, so I don't recommend this actually either. Most of the content is by other people. Now, let's go to the next step, which is a book like this. Now, this is an excellent lawyer in Louisiana named Parker Laverson, and Parker wrote this entire book answering all the questions about car accidents in Louisiana. It's got a ton of information. Parker obviously spent a lot of time this. This is a company that published this in Indiana that you can, for example, you can go to them. It's a hardcover book, so it looks pretty solid. It's got his picture, his information. It's loaded full of great information. This is really taking it to a higher level for book publishing. And it's inexpensive too. So you could say, I want 20, 50, 60, any number of books that you want. The company will say, okay, you do all the design, you do all the editing, all the layout, so you have to do everything basically. But they will publish a nice looking hardcover book just like this, and Parker is doing a phenomenal job. So this is sort of taking it to a higher level than the small little flimsy guide or co-authoring a chapter. Great job, Parker, with this book. Now, the next book, this is the book that I did. It's called The Power of a System. Power of a System is business-to-business marketing. It took me about 2.5 years to write this book. It's all my best policies, systems, procedures. Most importantly, it's actionable advice. So it's something that you could take in your practice and apply immediately. It's not fluff, it's not hypothetical or motivational, it's just real practical advice. This is what I'd recommend. This is also very expensive. It cost me about $30,000 to $40,000 for everything. The company I used was called Advantage Media. They're in Charleston, South Carolina. They do all the layout, they do the editing, they fix it, they do the design, and most importantly, they help market the book. So they'll put it everywhere, they'll put your name out there, and they'll help you, they'll teach you how to market your business through the book. So the best way of marketing and growing your business with a book is by doing something like Advantage Media Group, where you're learning and growing it. Now, one quick story about the book. I was in Fairfax, Virginia, where I got a call from a referring attorney. They said, we've got a new case. It's a young guy. He just had a massive brain injury. He was overdosed in a hospital on a medication. I said, I'll be right there. Turns out a few hours later, I get a call. He's already hired the big TV lawyer, the top lawyer in the market. I eventually went to meet with the patient's family at the hospital. I brought the book to this meeting. The book has nothing to do with answering their questions, but because this is just lawyer to lawyer, but it did have testimonials in the front of the book. I left the book there. They were also considering the other attorney. 2 days later, I get a call from the family, and they said, we read all the testimonials about you in your book, and we were convinced if all these other people say such nice things, you must be the right attorney for this case. So that is a potential multi-million-dollar case that I got through the book. The book has staying power. No one throws your book away. It will be with you through your career. It's a career-long investment that you have in your practice. This is the type of book that I would recommend for you. If you're going to do this, spend the time, spend the money. It's the best investment you can make for your career.